When asked about guilty pleasures, Adam Sandler is one of the people that comes to mind for me to answer, but I don't think it should be that way. Over the years and after watching many of his movies, I think some of the prejudices are unfounded, and that Adam, although it seems like he only knows how to act stupid roles, actually has a potential that he has chosen to hide. But why has this actor chosen to opt for fart jokes instead of a consolidated career towards the Oscars? To try to answer this, let's first go over his career a bit. Sandler began his career with appearances on shows like The Cosby Show and as a contestant on Remote Control. He later joined Saturday Night Live as a writer in 1990 and became a featured player in 1991, gaining fame for his original songs like the Thanksgiving song and the Hanukkah song. It's from here that Sandler would meet several of his friends who would accompany him in future movies such as Rob Schneider, David Spade, and Chris Rock. Coneheads would be Adam's first movie to come out of some Saturday Night Live sketches, and although one might think it was the first stupid humor movie he made, there was another one before in 1989, Going Overboard, that was much worse. So bad that I think it's not even worth remembering. Now, I believe from the beginning we had clues as to where much of his career would go, meaning comedic characters played by him with little depth.
Did he tell you about a little bedtime problem?
Mama, I'm begging you, don't.
That's his sheet back there.
He would reach stardom with Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Regarding the first one, I have to confess it could be one of my favorite Sandler comedies. Perhaps partly due to the nostalgia component, since it was the first movie I saw from him. And it's not like I was analyzing movies as a kid. So I love it, and I still repeat it to this day. I like it so much that I think I must be one of the first to upload clips from that movie to YouTube on a very old channel I had, although I think most were removed due to copyright strikes or issues. Following this, The Wedding Singer and The Waterboy were immediate commercial hits. In my view, especially The Wedding Singer, they were decent but solidified the Adam Sandler persona. A man lacking much personality, or if present, it's somewhat silly, often ending up with the most attractive girl in the film. And while this formula initially worked with engaging plots like Big Daddy, it soon became very predictable. Sandler then founded Happy Madison and embarked on a series of movies with his friends, including Little Nicky, Mr. Deeds, Anger Management, and 50 First Dates. While varying in quality, none of this challenged Sandler's acting abilities. He was stuck to the same uninspired character, so while Oscars remain out of reach, Razzies were not far off, notably in films like I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, and what is considered Sandler's worst, Jack and Jill. This led to critics viewing him as simplistic and insufferable. However, here is the contradiction. Sandler has not only made garbage cinema, and neither is his acting the same. The movie that opened my eyes was Punch Drunk Love. In this, he portrays a lonely man with social anxiety, and his family isn't much help. Particularly the party scene allows one to feel and empathize with the character. I gotta say, the level of anxiety reflected in how he walks, avoids eye contact, and misspeaks was the first hint of how good an actor Sandler could be when he set his mind to it. Even Paul Anderson, the director, recognized that he did not expect how hard Sandler would work to be a good actor here.
I think I got even luckier than I thought I might get. It was like striking gold, just his, most of all, his, the ability to work really hard for a really long period of time.
This surprise was so good, it led him to be nominated for Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical, and I think this was the movie in which he came closest to an Oscar nomination. Other very good roles he had were in movies like Reign Over Me. Once again, Sandler steps away from his goofy antics and, with a melancholic tone, expresses a very different range of emotions than usual. Here he plays a man who lost his family in the 9/11 and lives in isolation. I can only imagine Sandler reading the character description and wondering how on earth he was going to pull it off. Considering, of course, that Punch Drunk Love had been the most serious role he had taken on up to that point. Although, in my opinion, he wasn't as good as in the latter, I still applaud how bold he was and how well he executed it. By the way, I don't think melancholic characters wouldn't be his only excellent facet. In Uncut Gems, he plays a somewhat eccentric gambler and once again demonstrates the range of roles he can take on. From start to finish, we see an early manic and obsessive personality when it comes to gambling, to the point of losing everything. Every expression Sandler delivers hits the mark perfectly for what the role needed. We also can't overlook his performances in the Meyerowitz Stories and Hustle. While they don't go to melancholic and manic extremes, they are still outstanding, more so than many Hollywood actors and even more impressively, comedians who attempt dramatic roles. Some might also include Click on this list, and I partially agree, because while it still has fart jokes, by the end, Sandler managed to balance them with some drama that makes the character a bit more compelling than his usual idiot roles. While I can't get into Adam Sandler's head to know why he deprives us of his acting ability, I think there are two possible answers. Simply put, his movies, no matter how silly they may be, guarantee him almost instant commercial success. And the second one came to me after watching his song dedicated to his old friend Chris Farley. That's right, I shed a few tears and I realized that what matters most to Adam Sandler is having fun with the people he loves the most. Okay, still, we have to admit that if money weren't involved, he might not make them as often. But I truly believe that, beyond that, friendship is one of the reasons he continued to make movies with his friends, like in Grown Ups. Whether his performance is terrible or not, doesn't matter. I don't think it's his objective. If making thoughtless movies allows him to go on vacation, have a good time with his friends, and act alongside of sexy actors, then I think it's fine.